We, the royal teachers in second grade kingdom, will create a positive classroom community and instill a love of learning in all children by taking risk, sharing the leadership, and having fun.
Super. I like that we put taking risks in there. It's been coming up a lot.
It has.
Our norms are that we'll be positive, be prepared, listen, take risks, collaborate, and keep information confidential. All right, first common formative assessment today, and do you want to go through our data for that?
Yes. Okay.
So we need to record those that were on target and those that were below the target.
Below the target. Do we want to look at the students that made the target first?
Yeah, how many did you have?
I had 15 out of 8 students meet the target.
15 out of 18?
Yes, that's 83% of my students.
Okay. Did you have any specific words, since it was for vocabulary, that you feel like they missed the most?
Well, the word that was missed the most was daily, and I don't know if that was because it was the first question and some of them were anxious about it or nervous about it. I remember the sentence was, the sun shines blank, and they had to choose from daily, orbit, or position. And I don't know if they chose orbit because they saw the word sun and they were thinking planets, orbit, and they just didn't read the whole sentence.
Do you feel like there were any instructional strategies that helped them do well? I mean, we use our journals, we use our pictures, and
I think the vocabulary journals really help, and I like that we use pictures to introduce the vocabulary word because it gives them that image in their mind. So I definitely think those two things help. Is there anything that you're using that was helpful this
just
week?
kind of like what you said before with the big book. I like that we're giving them places in context that it's used to, especially if we're assessing them that way. Usually they're asked to use it in a sentence or to show what they know it means.
Right.
Not just draw a picture of it. So we're taking it,
and
starting it concrete and making it go more abstract.
And I have noticed that the students are finding the vocabulary words in text, so at least they're
Something I started doing is having my kids hold up a V anytime they ever hear a vocab word, and it's kind of fun to see like who's noticing it right away. So.
Now, is that for like any word that
any word that we've ever talked about for vocabulary? So if they hear it like in the announcements, or if they hear it when I'm saying it, so it helps you pick up on the kids that are actually paying attention.
I like that.
So let's talk about another common formative assessment we could do. Do you want to stick with vocabulary? Do you want to go to something different?
Well, why don't, because we started with vocabulary, why don't we continue with vocabulary just to get comfortable with using different forms of common formative assessment, and then
move on to other subjects.
We can move on to other subjects.
I think it would be maybe a better practice to use some sort of like quality tool when we're doing a common formative assessment to actually record the data and have the kids record their data that way too.
That's a good idea.
Instead of what we did earlier.
Right.
So like a chart where they each have a spot to put a sticky note, and we could use it, like incorporate it into our room all the time. Not just like, okay, now it's time for vocabulary, but putting that somewhere like in our data center.
So if we had something like this, and then so number one,
give them a number, so it's not necessarily like, oh, this person, you know, it's not their name.
It's not their name, it's just their number.
But it lets us know who they are.
And we could use Post-its, and they could just, let's say it was cabin, we drew a picture, and then they stick it on number one, and then we could kind of glance at it and see, okay,
I think it'd be a good closure way, like with reading. Okay, here's our word for the day. Show what you know about it. Put it on your spot, and then go make your daily 5 choice. It doesn't really interrupt the flow of the day, but it's just, and then it's there, and it's not like I have to collect it right away.
No.
So I want to do it as far as the ratings are students below proficiency, at proficiency, and above proficiency. So, might need to create a rubric.
Could we find some way to base it off our report card too? You know, because our report card has 1 or 3 is meeting standards, 2 is making progress, and 1 is needing support. I don't know if we could assign it, or if that would get too complicated. I'm not sure.
Then beyond that, we were going to talk about using the iPads in our classroom and how that's been going. I have a plus delta here we can use, so I just want to brainstorm some ideas.
Like what's been going well? The kids are really engaged.
It is funny to stand in the middle of your room and all of a sudden, like, nobody needs you.
I know, it's amazing.
For things we could change, I know this is something that I just need to work on, but we've been using IXL. IXL has been working great.
Yes.
We could put that on the plus side.
We can.
But I would like to get better at using some other apps or some other programs, or finding out things that would work. And maybe giving them choices even of what works so that we can differentiate. So then the next steps for next week are just to try the CFA, get 2 apps that we're thinking about, and then possibly do the DSSP.
That
Anything
sounds
else?
perfect. I don't think so.
Okay.
That's good. Everything
Cool.
else going well?
Okay. Thanks.